NXT Takeover 31 is tomorrow night, and we have 5 incredible matches on the card. This is being rumored to be the final event at Full Sail University. They're preparing to move back to the Performance Center. Personally, I would love to see an NXT in the Thunderdome. That would be a great experience. That'd be a step up for NXT for sure. But it is what it is if that those rumors are true. And with NXT basically being a hotbed for COVID, and the Performance Center being a hotbed for COVID, then it doesn't make sense for it to happen at the Performance Center. This outbreak was horrible from what we saw the past week or so. And they shouldn't be doing this, but at the same time, with Full Sail being an actual university, you cannot put students at risk, even if classes are Zoomified or on Zoom or, I don't know what the technical term is because I don't use it. So, but, if it's on Zoom or it's like online classes or anything like that, or if they're still going in universities and doing things, we don't know. But it's a legitimate university. It's not just the name of an arena. It's a legitimate university, and you cannot put students at risk, even if it is for extra credit of any kind. Working cameras for NXT or doing sound or doing production for them, because Full Sail legitimately is a legitimate university, and it's helping people with that want to go into broadcasting. So, you don't want to risk that in this, whatever our normal is now. I don't even know what to call it. I've just called it a COVID era at this point. And in this COVID era, you can't risk that. Nonetheless, 5 great matches on this card. First off, with the Cruiserweight Championship, Santos Escobar, the former El Hijo del Fantasma, defends against Isaiah Swerve Scott. He could be Squat at this point. Who cares? Because he's probably not going to win. Over the past few weeks, we have seen Escobar use a loaded mask, something that we haven't seen in a very long time, maybe the 80s or 70s even, where a heel would insert something in their mask. The most notable is Mr. Wrestling 2, when he did have a small heel spell in Mid-South. And when we had, I don't know what fell there, excuse me, but, when he did have a loaded mask, it was interesting, because you never saw that side of wrestling too. But, basically, the person would put it in the mask, as we saw, load it up, hit the mask in a certain point wherever they loaded it, just to make sure it's in there right, or to load it up, or to make sure it's properly safe in there so it doesn't fall out and makes you disqualified when you hit someone and it falls out of your mask. And hit the opponent and then win. Same thing as a loaded boot, loaded glove, same philosophy at that point. And Swerve has beaten him twice, but Escobar has beaten him several times as well. And at this point, if you're going to make the Cruiserweight division its own division in NXT, which has been great, and the Cruiserweight should have been on NXT to begin with. This is what should have happened with the Cruiserweight division to begin with. And then, put them on the main roster. Because there's not a Cruiserweight title anymore, so there's no point of having 205 Live, but they still have it. NXT should just have a Cruiserweight show. That's what it should be. It's not 205 Live, it's just NXT, having a second hour. Or a third hour, rather, because they've gone to 2 hours for a while now. But, with that being said, Scott, I feel there is going to be a title change on this card. Scott will win the title. And with Retribution being called up, basically, with Dijak, Dio Madden, Mia Yim, Mercedes Martinez, and I was confused for a while who Slapjack was, but it was revealed to be Shane Thorne, and no one knew who the masked guy was. It was Shane Thorne, out of all people, so good for him. But again, call-ups are a thing. We haven't had an actual call-up in a long time, and now with NXT, and I hate saying this, and people hate me saying this, but with NXT being developmental, yes, it is a great show. It's going up against AEW every week. But technically, it's still developmental. Or if we're calling NXT a main roster show now, that would relegate NXT UK to being developmental. And then you would move to NXT and then the main roster. Or Performance Center to UK Performance Center, whichever Performance Center you have, or one in the UK or here in America, you move on to either NXT or NXT UK, and then eventually you go to NXT regardless, and then you go to the main roster. Especially with the draft coming up next week, we could see a lot of people called up because of this draft. So a lot of things could happen here. I will pick Swerve Scott to win, even though Swerve would be incredible on the main roster right now. But I wouldn't be surprised at all if Escobar retains. Next up, the piss break out of this entire event, and I hate saying that because it's a Kushida match, but Kushida faces the Velveteen Dream, so automatically, due to the allegations and due to him being what he is, over the past few months, disgraceful actions, it is your piss break match for sure. But Kushida wins automatically in my mind just because it's Kushida and we've seen a more vicious side of Kushida. We saw him fucking bulldog an arm. When's the last time you've ever seen that happen? And using that straight into the hoverboard lock. It was incredible. So I feel Kushida wins in record time. And then you can put the Dream up in the main roster, do whatever the fuck you want. I don't care. Next up, and these were out of order, but we'll just go with the list it is right now. Finn Balor defends the NXT Championship against Kyle O'Reilly. Finn Balor tying with Adam Cole in that incredible fatal four-way, first ever fatal four-way Iron Man match for the vacant title after Karrion Kross, had to vacate due to injury, which was very unfortunate because he was really getting better and better each week. But they tied. Cole and Finn had a great match which basically eliminated the other people in the match because they tied. Finn Balor won the title, and we haven't really seen him on NXT a lot after that. Kyle O'Reilly won a gauntlet eliminator against Bronson Reed, Cameron Grimes, Kushida, and Timothy Thatcher. And Kyle O'Reilly ran the gauntlet, was on number 1 or number 2. We don't really know when they entered the match because him and Kushida were in the match at the same time, I believe, to start it off. But the start and end, the match just shows the investment for Kyle O'Reilly for sure. He's a great talent. We haven't seen a lot of him singles-wise because he's been in the tag division with Bobby Fish as a part of Redragon still, or whatever you're calling him in the industry there. They don't really have an official name. But I really am hesitant to say Kyle wins because we could have a reliving of Evolution where Cole and everybody else knocks Kyle out of the Undisputed Era. That's a very big possibility. But for the moment itself, Kyle needs to win this match. Will he win the match? Probably not. But it'll be a great match regardless. I'm surprised if Finn retains. Finn just won the title. It makes no sense to hot shot it on the Kyle. But if anyone was to win it, it would be Kyle O'Reilly. Next up for the NXT Women's Championship, Io Shirai against Candice LeRae. LeRae and her husband, who has a match later on here, we are trying to be the first married couple to hold simultaneous titles. And technically, the Gargano family would have the true full crown. Or not even a full crown, but a full, just holding every title, basically. Because if you count Candice winning the NXT Women's title, they've held every title in the NXT. And I feel like that could happen. Especially with the draft, anything could happen here. Candice wins. And as far as the North American title concerned, Damian Priest against Johnny Gargano, Gargano finally wins the big one. And we have that moment. Especially with the draft. Sure, Priest winning it and losing it right away isn't bad, but Priest is a star regardless. He could be great on the main roster. But that being said, NXT Takeover 31 is at Full Sail University. It will eventually become Half Mast University because it will no longer have NXT and it will have no purpose, and as far as wrestling is concerned, whatsoever.